Today we'll be playing Eden. It's a visual novel, Japanese one, of course, like most of them are. I actually have never played Eden before, so it looks pretty interesting. It's one of those post-apocalyptics, few survivors at the end of the world type of thing. It doesn't look like it's more zombie related. It's more about just being the last people on Earth type of thing. So let me go ahead and start up the game here. To the space cat background. Probably should have done this before I started, but oh well. That's why. This is when I wish you can edit scenes while not being in the scenes. It's something that you can do on XSplit, but you can't really do on OBS. Try adding. Try capture. There we go. That worked out. If you ask me, OBS still has very much desired. Alright. Good. Horizontally. Alright, put this card up just so I can mark it for later. Yeah, this is Eden with an asterisk. There were only two on the planet. So it's about the last two. From the trailers that I've seen, it looks like there is other characters, but maybe a flashback. So let's get this game started.
楽な仕事であることは保証するよ。
End of days have begun. The girl sitting across from me said that cheerfully as she crossed her legs from underneath her in space. Her name was Lavinia Aside. So, she was a warrant officer like myself, and we seemed to be the same age. Perhaps that's why she was acting quite friendly with me, despite us being I should have thought about this before I started the stream. Not a very narrative mood today, but let's try this again. Perhaps that's why she was acting quite friendly with me, despite us having just met.
軍勤はうるさくないし、勤務時間外は多少羽目を外しても咎められることもない。
They aren't finicky about regulations, and they won't fault you for the most part if you can't cut loose when you're being off the clock. She had an army brat feel to her, and her personality was refreshing.
士官の数も少ないから、準位って言えばちょっとした身分だよ。
There aren't many officers, so warrant officer is quite a position indeed.
聞いてる？春名準尉。
Hey, are you listening, Warrant Officer Haruna? Haruna?
聞いてる？朝日。
I'm listening, Warrant Officer Asai.
さっきも言ったでしょ。ラビーでいいってば。
Didn't I tell you before? Lavi's fine.
あんまり名字好きじゃないんだよね、私。だ
Oh,
から
twice.
ラビ準尉って呼んで。
So call me Officer Warrant Lavi.
名前に階級をつけるのはおかしくないな。
Isn't it weird to be attached to your rank to your first name?
なんなら呼び捨てにしてくれても全然構わないよ。私が上官になるまでは。
I don't mind if you like to drop the formalities, at least until I become your superior. She gave me a tease this moment.
でもさ、春の順位ほんとさっきから上の空じゃない？
You know, Warren Officer, Marina, I don't think you've been a little too aloof this whole time.
もしかして今回の任務は気に入らないの？
Are you not pleased with our current mission? This female soldier and I were the only ones present in this transport of the helicopter, which could carry up to 11 troops. Her shrill voice was harsh to my ears, perhaps due to how empty it was.
ま、特殊部隊出身の順位には施設警備なんて物足りない仕事だろうけど。
Well, defending the research facility is probably a lackluster job for a warrant officer from the Special Forces.
別に物足りないってことはないさ。
Not that I'm particularly unsatisfied. According to others, I looked quite stoic and always seemed to be displeased. Well, it wasn't a big deal for a soldier to be unsociable.
仕事なんだから襟好みなんだしね。命令ならどこへでも行くし、何でもやるのが当然だ。
It's work, so I'm not too picky. I'll go anywhere and do anything if I'm ordered to.
結構謙虚なのね。エリート部隊の隊員なんてみんな傲慢なタイプかと思ってた。
Well, aren't you modest? Here I thought everyone in the elite unit was an arrogant bastard.
特殊部隊って言っても別にエリートってわけじゃない。ちょっと他の部隊と仕事の種類が違っただけだ。
I may have been in the special forces, but it doesn't really make me an elite. The work we perform was just different from other units.
それに部隊がなくなったんだ。俺だって君と何も変わらない。
Besides, the unit isn't anymore. Sorry. Besides, the unit is no more. I'm no different from you. Now, I wonder if I should even bother voice acting the parts they actually speak in Japanese. The only reason why I do it is in case people are too lazy to read the subtitles. I mean, from personal experience, I prefer listening to the Japanese VOs over any any translated VOs. The native language for any game is just always better. If you listen to Japanese visual novel voices, they're much better than in Japanese and other languages, and I'm sure that's the same for most English games. And it's, I hear it's the same for Witcher 2 if you played in the original native language. I actually never played The Witcher 1, so we'll see about that. So if you want me to change, just let me know in the description, in the comments, or whatever. Maybe the next one I'll do it differently and just to see how it is. Alright, back to the story.
そんなもんかな。
Wait, so?
Ah.
Yeah. It's been 3 months since the unified government had declared war to Chile. My unit was dissolved amidst the rapid disassembly and the reorganization of land forces. Many of my former comrades transferred to a new unit and gone into space. Several have been discharged and returned to their normal lives, and some have transferred into the police force. It was exceedingly rare for someone to be transferred to another terrestrial unit like me.
見えてきた。ほら、あれよ。
Oh, I can see it. Take a look over there. She spoke with a remarkably loud glee. That sounds weird. She spoke remarkably loudly and looked towards the window beside me. I turned to look, lured by her voice. As soon as I turned around, a tiny island floated along on a light blue ocean entered my view. There's a rather solemn-looking building standing on the island, concealed by a sheer rock face, like some sort of mistaken design.
そう春名獣医の新たな認知
Yes.
第
New
703研究所よ
Research Facility number 703. Eden. There are only two. One. We nonchalantly passed through the splendid doors to the building. I halted and sat down my bag beside me.
確か研究所の警備部隊に配属されると聞いてきたんだけどな。
I heard I was assigned to the research facility's defense.
そうだからここが春名獣医の新たな勤務地第703研究所よ
Yes, like I said, this is your new post, research facility number 703. She repeated those words I heard only a moment ago. I took a better look around the entry
な
lobby.
かなかいい趣味だな。
Well, it's certainly something.
研究所ってイメージじゃないことは確かね
Bet it isn't quite what you pictured in a research facility. Normally, when I think of research facility, I think of the drab concrete exterior with nothing but off-white linoleum corridors inside, as far as one eye could see. But that would have been presumptuous, as the place certainly didn't look like anything I imagined a research facility would be.
まそのあたりについてはそのうちわかるよまずは我らが隊長のところへ案内す
Well, you'll understand sooner or later. For now, I'll take you to your commanding officer.
ラビーち
Ah, Laffy.
ゃんエリコさん
Erica?
どうしたのすっとんきょうな声出して
What's wrong? You sound a bit frantic. Alright, this is weird. Kind of a weird shift. Let's see how this goes, but... Opinions dropping.
それがサロンでカリウスさんと松永くんが取っ組み合いよ
That's because Miss Calcius and Mr. Matsu... Okay, let me think about this. Matsunaga. Mr. Matsunaga have scuffled into the salon.
え
Huh?
っていいんじゃないカリウス軍曹も松永伍長も若いんだし青春の血潮がたぎることだってあるよ
What's wrong with that? Sergeant Callius and Corporal Matsunaga are both young. There are a few times when adolescent blood just boils.
でも仲裁しようとして何人も怪我してるんです
But many people got injured trying to intervene.
ちょうどいい訓練になるよ喧嘩の一つも止められない連中は体がなまってるんでしょ
They'll make for some good training. Anyone who can't stop a fight must be getting a little rusty.
でも
What?
まだ何かあんの
There's more?
ラビーちゃんの所有権をかけての決闘らしいんですけど
Appears to be a duel for your ownership.
所有権
Ownership?
しかも勝った方がラビーちゃん専用押し倒し権をゲットできるとかなんとか
Furthermore, the winners will receive an exclusive ticket to force themselves to market. That's kind of fucked up.
どこで誰が発行してんのよその券は
Who issued those tickets and where?
ね行きますか放っておきますか
So, should we go or just leave him alone?
もういないですね。
No,
早い早い。
she's already gone. How quick. Warrant Officer Levy disappeared into the wind just like the Erica girl could finish talking.
困ったもんですね。でもラビーちゃんは美人だからしょうがないですよね。
Not troubling, but Lavi is such a beauty and it's really inevitable.
ね、あなたもそう思いません？
Say, don't you think so?
ラビー順位の見てくれがそこそこいいのは否定しないが
I won't deny that, officer. Lavi has a reasonably good appearance, but
あれ？
she tilted her head slightly.
ところでどちら様ですか？
By the way, who might you be?
今日ここに赴任してきたものなんだが
As assigned to this post starting today.
ああ、聞いてます。目つきの悪い、いかにも悪賢そうな少年が来るって。
Ah, I heard. He said a cunning man with the dreadful eyes was coming.
俺の目つきのことはともかく案内役がいなくなってどうするんだ
Setting my eyes aside, what shall I do now that I've lost my guide?
どうするんでしょうね。
What will you do?
というかこちらからも質問があるんだがいいか
Actually, I have a question as well. May I?
はい、なんでしょう。
Sure. What is it?
君はなんだ
Just who are you?
メイドです。
I would be a maid.
ここには貴族でも住んでるのか
Is there a noble living here or something?
まさか人類が宇宙に移民するこの時代に貴族なんて、そんなのいたら剥製にされて博物館に飾られちゃいますよ。
Possible. There's no way there'd be any nobles around now that people are immigrating to space. If there were, they'd be stuffed and placed into a museum. Morbid. Very morbid, maid. Miss Elka. The girl who called herself a maid chuckled cheerfully.
物珍しさで言えばメイドも負けてないだろ
If speaking in terms of rarity, wouldn't a maid follow suit as well?
つまり私も剥製に？
In other words, you mean you'd have me mounted and stuff?
剥製から離れろ
Let's move away from that subject. Indeed. I couldn't help but feel this would-be maid was off in the head somewhere.
仮にもここは政府の施設だろうしかも軍が駐留している重要施設にメイドなんているはずがない
This is a government institution. Even if it were for a time, there is no way they would place a maid in such an essential complex.
そんないきなりやってきて私の存在を否定されても。
You can't just suddenly appear and deny my existence.
少し頭が痛くなってきた
Ah, my head's starting to hurt. Even if she was... Pardon me? Even if she looked at me with those troubled eyes, I was just as baffled as she was.
私のお仕事についてご説明した方がいいでしょうか。
Maybe I should explain what I do here.
いやいい聞くと余計に頭痛がひどくなりそうだ
No, it's fine. That'd just make my headache worse.
それよりここの責任者のところへ行きたいんだが場所を教えてもらえるかな
Anyways, I'd like to go to see the person in charge here. Would you tell me the way?
稲葉少佐さんですね。
You mean Major Mina?
なんでしたら私がご案内しましょうか。ラビーちゃんはカリウスさんと松永くんを半殺しにするまで戻ってこないでしょうし。
In that case,
Why don't I show you the way? Lavi probably will not return until she's beaten Mr. Callius and Mr. Matsunaga halfway to death anyways.
半殺しね。物騒なところだな。
Half to death indeed. This place sounds pretty dangerous.
ラビーちゃんが物騒なだけです。
Lavi's the only dangerous one.
何も警戒することなんてありません。
There's no need for you to be on guard.
平和な場所ですから。
This place is pretty peaceful. A carefree smile rose to her face. The moment I witnessed her smile, dripping with kindness.
すごいね、りょうは。
You're amazing, Rio. What in the world was that sensation now? For an instant, it felt like a current had just ran through me. I was seeing stars. No. There was something else. I surely caught a glimpse of something else in that instant. What in the world was it?
いや、なんでもない。気にしないでくれ。
It's nothing. Please don't worry about it. I said that as I wiped the sweat from my forehead.
気分が悪いようでしたら、お薬でもお出ししましょうか。
You're feeling unwell. I can get you some medicine.
本当になんでもないんだ。それより案内を頼む。
It's really nothing. Please, just lead the way. Okay, what was that A down there in the corner? Autosave, I guess? Whatever.
はあ、わかりました。それでは参りましょう。
Understood. Understood. Let's be off.
1名様、ご案内。
Party of one, right this way. I slowly followed behind the maid as she started walking. Earlier it seemed like I had remembered something important. There was no doubt it was an illusion, but why did I have a sudden hallucination? I shook my head. A building unsuited to be called a research facility, and a girl who called herself a maid. I was probably just a little confused after encountering such a strange situation. After opening the door and stepping in, a lone man appeared before me. That man was seated sloppily in a chair, gazing at me with an uninterested expression.
なんでエリカと一緒なんだ、春菜順位。
Why are you with Erica, Warrant Officer Haruna? I think that's supposed to be Erica. It sounds better. Elika, I guess. That's what it says. The man, Major Inaba, I think I said it right that time, went straight to the point.
ですね、ラビーちゃんに突然休養ができちゃったんですよ。
Regarding that, Lavi suddenly had some urgent business to attend to.
そりゃ、休養は突然できる
Well,
わな。
urgent business is usually sudden.
ああ、なるほど。鋭いご意見ですね。
Oh, I see. Very quick-witted.
いや、それほどでも。
Oh golly, it's not that quick. What's with this conversation?
それでエリカが連れてきてくれたわけか。ご苦労だったな。
And so you brought him here, Elika? Sorry for the trouble.
いえいえ、これくらいはお安いご用で。私は自分の損にならないことなら何でもやりますよ。
Not at all. This much is the simplest of tasks. I'll do anything that doesn't leave me at a loss.
というか、仕 仕事をサボるいい口実になりましたし。
Or perhaps should I say, it was a good excuse to skip out on work. I wasn't sure what to think of her after hearing that.
それでは面倒ですけど、そろそろお仕事に戻ります。
Well then, it's troublesome, but about time I got back to work.
ああ、彼女によろしく。
Yes, please take care of her. Elika smiled sweetly, bowed to the major, and left the room. When I saw her bow instead of a salute, it became clear she wasn't a military personnel. Maybe she really was a maid.
どうだエリカは。ちょっと目がくらむような美人だろう。
What do you think of Elika? Pretty easy on the eyes, right? His mouth loosened to a grin.
そうですかね。
I suppose so.
あまり興味なさそうだな。
You don't seem very interested.
あまりではなく、少しもありません。
Not very, at all. Not even a little bit.
まあ、軍隊では珍しいことじゃないし、今時は神様だって同性を愛するなとは言わないよな。
Well, it's not an unusual thing in the military, and these days, even God would say you can't love another man.
そういう意味ではありません。
I didn't mean it that way. In reality, I had some interest in Elika, but I wasn't captivated by her endowed figure. Something fell out of place with her. Not that I had the slightest idea where that feeling came from.
春名順位の趣味についてはおいおい追求するとして。
Try and pursue your interests when you can. The superior officer who peered into the subordinates' personal lives were the worst.
さてと。
Now then. Major Abina corrected his posture slightly and cleared his throat.
よく来たなと言うべきかな。いきなりこちらに不手際があったようだな。
I suppose I should say you did well making it here, although it seems there has been a sudden inconvenience from our end.
お言葉ですけど、少佐は部下のしつけがなってないんじゃないですか。
I appreciate your words, but aren't your subordinates a little too undisciplined?
俺は部下の自主性を尊重する上官なんでね。
I'm a superior officer who respects his subordinates' independence.
上官ならけじめをつけないとまずいでしょう。
Isn't it bad for a superior not to take responsibility? He shrugged his shoulders and showed a faint smile. The way his actions and expressions gave off a sarcastic feel had not changed at all in the past.
確か、
If I recall,
ん？
確か7年前は注意でしたよね。まさかまだ少佐だとは思いませんでした。
if I recalled, you were the first lieutenant 7 years ago. I never thought you'd still be what? Doesn't make sense to me. I never thought you'd still be a major.
士官学校でとはいえ、俺はまだ味噌汁にもなってないんだぞ。少佐なら上等だろう。
Although I'm out of the military, I'm not even in my 30s yet. Wait, what did I say? Even though I'm out of the academy, I'm not even in the 30s yet. Making it to the rank of major isn't bad at all.
いえ、あなたは
No, I thought...
ん？なんだ？
What? I thought you were more capable. Not only was there no point, that was not something I should say to someone who was, for the time being, my superior. I swallowed my words.
少佐は昔と比べてあまり変わっていませんね。
You haven't changed much from how you were in the past.
苦労してないからな。老け込む要素がないんだ。
It's because I haven't gone through any hardships. Nothing to age me. You let a rattling laugh. His face looked a little red, but it was unlikely he would drink in the afternoon.
とりあえず配属書は受け取ったんで、今日はもう休んでいいぞ。飛行機とヘリを乗り継いでの長旅は疲れただろう。
We've already received your assignment documents, so you can rest for the remainder of the day. You must be worn out from the long trip, switching straight from a plane to a helicopter.
ですが、まだ任務の詳細も聞いていません。
Still haven't heard of the details of my mission.
当研究所の警備。以上。
The defense of this research facility. That's all.
了解しました。
Understood.
それじゃ、こいつを持っていけ。
Well then, take these. He rummaged through his desk drawers and took out a thin manila envelope and a single
こ
card.
の封筒には細々とした書類と館内の見取り図のデータディスクが入ってる。それとこっちはお前の ID だ。
This envelope contains the assorted documents and a data disk with a rough mapping of the building. And also, here's your idea. Thanks.
あと独り身の夜を慰める秘蔵データもあるのだ。ついでに持っていくか。
Finally, I have some valuable resources for consoling yourself in these lonely nights. Would you like to take them while you can?
結構です。
I'm quite alright.
つまらんな。
How boring. I took the envelope and the ID and returned the guest ID I had received from Lavi earlier.
あとは明朝0730に迎えが来るから、その時に細かい仕事内容を聞いてくれ。
I'll meet you at 0730 and we'll explain the details of your assignment then.
なんだか大雑把ですね。
This all seems rather sketchy.
館内に入ってから荷物検査すら受けていませんよ。
I've not received a luggage inspection since I've entered the building. It seemed far too insecure. Anyway, you'd look at it.
別にいつも誰にでもこういう対処をしてるわけじゃないさ。
It's not like everyone gets this treatment.
なら今回はなぜ俺をフリーで通したんですか？
Then why are you letting me through so easily?
決まってる。
That should be obvious.
春菜亮、お前は特別だからだよ。
Yoharna, it's because you're special. Was it so obvious? I understand that from his tone that he didn't intend to say any more.
こちらからも一つ質問があるんだ。いいか？
I do have a question for you. Is that okay?
もちろん構いません。
Of course, it's not a problem. There's no way I can refuse to speak to a superior.
亮、
Rio. His demeanor flipped like a switch, and his eyes stared straight at me.
まだ7年前のことを覚えているか？
You still remember what happened 7 years ago? 7 years ago. The frustration of only being able to cry out. The sensation of a large, heavy fist sinking into my face. The thick thud. A back trailing off in the distance. Tiny footsteps pushing through the grass.
忘れてはいません。
I have forgotten.
すべてを忘れるには7年は短すぎます。
7 years is far too short to forget everything. I returned to stare. No matter how sharp his glare, my heart did not sway.
だったらなぜ銃を抜かない？お前にとっては殺しても飽き足らない相手だろう、俺は。
Then why don't you pull out your gun? Though I'm sure it wouldn't be enough to satisfy you, even if you killed me at this point.
そうやって俺の前に立つためにお前は今日まで生きてきたんじゃないのか？
Didn't you live to this day in order to stand before me and accomplish that?
殺されると分かっていて俺を呼んだのですか？
Oh, did you put in a request for me to think you'd be killed?
お前は大したものだよ。もう殴るどころか体に触れることもできないだろうな。
You're certainly something. I bet I couldn't even lay a hand on you now, much less even hit you.
俺も所詮は飼い犬ですよ。あんたと同じようにね。
The military's attacked dog, same as you. Any soldier would have shot. Wow. Any soldier would shoot if given the order. But on the other hand, we couldn't shoot without an order. That was how trained soldiers behaved. The major should have been aware of that.
今の質問は忘れてくれ。任務に関係ないことをつい口走るのが俺の悪い癖でね。
Forget about what I said. It's just a bad habit of mine, running my mouth, and unrelated duties. Excuse me.
本当に悪い癖ですね。
Really is bad habit.
全くだ。
You said it. Before I knew it, his eyes had become sluggish before.
それでは失礼します。
Well then, please excuse me.
ああ。
I saluted and went to turn. I halted.
少佐、
Major.
ん？どうした？
What is it?
ここでは一体何の研究を？
What in the world are they researching here?
ああ。肝心なことを言い忘れてたか。すまんすまん。
Ah, forgot to mention something important earlier. Sorry about that. He clapped his hands together and grinned. His sloppiness might have been the reason he struck at this current rate.
俺も詳しいところまでは知らない。聞いても理解できんだろうしな。まあ、簡単に言うと。
Even I don't know in great detail. I probably wouldn't understand even if they told me. So I keep it simple.
かつては移民船開発の中枢だったが、今はすでに就航した船のデータ解析をやってるそうだ。
She was a key figure in developing of the colony ships, and now she's running the data analysis on ones that are currently in service.
移民船開発。
Development of colony ships? Wait, this is the second. A key figure in developing a colony ship? What do you mean?
さすがに察しがいいじゃないか、りょう。
Not surprising. Catch on fast, Ro. Grinned fearlessly.
ここには
This is where?
ここには彼女がいる。
This is where she lived. The door was closed quietly, and Annabelle leaned back in his chair. He brushed the stubble on his chin and thought to himself, he'd grown quite a bit. That was only natural. After all, Annabelle last met Ryo Harna roughly 7 years ago. Couldn't safely say Ryo was young at that time. In fact, one could say that he was young, even now. However, those eyes of his, they were no longer eyes of a young man, but of a soldier who survived numerous battles. Annabelle lazily tapped on his laptop on his desk.
うん。
He's reading through the data on Ryo Haruna that had been forwarded to him at headquarters. Warrant Officer Ryo Haruna, birthplace Japan. He was enlisted in the United Army 7 years ago, fought against the Southern Union, which had declined an alliance with the unified government. Though exceedingly underage when he enlisted, he became an expert marksman and was later designated as a sniper. For 3 years, he fought numerous skirmishes and received multiple commendations for his performance. He was given the rank of corporal around the time the War of the Southern Union had ended, and left his unit to return to his home country. With the decline in the Army's 10th Special Force units, which specialized in anti-terrorism, he enlisted in a newly established Unit 13, which went by the alias GAT. As a member of the entry team, he was able to achieve many accolades, primarily his role in eliminating anti-government guerrilla forces. Why would you assign a sniper as an entry team? Maybe designated marksman would do.
ゲリラの中でも最大の戦力を有していた反移民組織暁の明星の壊滅もガットの仕事だったか。
Among the GAT's accomplishments was the neutralization of the greatest threat from the guerrilla forces, an anti-immigration organization, the Dawn Stars. He is also instrumental in the elimination of serial bomber Kizu, rescued the adopted daughter of the vice president of the Ministry of Domestic Affairs, and secured the Diet member Hazutaro, ringleader of the Sanction 7.
ここ数年の激戦地すべてに志願参加し、功績を認められて試験免除で特殊部隊入り。凄まじいな。
He volunteered for all the bloodiest battles of recent years and was accepted into the Special Force, exempt from evaluation thanks to his achievement. Terrific. He checked this data many times before, but it was a career that gave him chills every time he read it. Ryo Haruna had probably handled many assignments not kept in an official records since joining the Special Forces. He appeared to be a normal young man, yet there was no doubt Ryo was a capable soldier. Even with how unorganized the military was at the present, advancing from a private to a warrant officer in such a scant few years was unprecedented. But
一体その目で何を見てきたんだ、春名亮。
what in the world have you seen? Ryo Haruna. Evan aside. The one who dragged Ryo into the military 7 years ago was none other than Eneba. Of course, Ryo had decided to enlist on his own. Eneba was just happened to help push him through the paperwork. Ryo did not meet the age requirement, so Eneba fabricated his documents and arranged for him to be assigned under a commander who knew to be capable. That was all. That decision stained the once pure young man's hands with blood. The soldiery, in fact, was enough to ensure Eneba a place in hell.
まあ、罪の一つや二つが増えても今更だがね。
No, it doesn't matter if I pile in another sin or two now. Eneba bitterly reached for his whiskey bottle at his desk.
出てきましたね。
Ah, you've come out. I heard a lively voice as I left the office. When I turned around, the maid girl jogging towards me from the other side of the hall was a light pitter-patter.
ちょうどいいタイミングだったみたいですね。我ながら間がいいな。
It looked like my timing is perfect. Certainly lucky to say so if I do say so myself. Blah, that was terrible. Certainly lucky if I do say so myself. I don't like this character. She just ruins the flow of the story.
あんた仕事があるんじゃなかったのか？
Didn't you have some paperwork to do?
お仕事を済ませて戻ってきたんです。大事なことを言い忘れていたので。
Yes, I finished and came back. Gotta tell you something important.
大事なこ
Something important?
私ってポカが多くて大抵のことはうまくこなせるんですけど大事なことを忘れがちなんですよね。
Yes, maybe I'm a little bit too clumsy, but I handle the majority of things quite well. I just tend to forget about the most important things.
と？それは難儀なたちだな。
That must be difficult for you. It was inconsequential to me,
そ
though.
れで大事なことってなんだ？
So what was this most important thing?
私エリカと言います。
My name is Elegant.
は
Yeah?
自己紹介を忘れてたんですよ。ね、とんだうっかりさんでしょ。
I forgot to introduce myself. Hey, just horribly forgetful.
そんなことか。
That's what it was? I already knew since Lavi had said her name
自己
before.
紹介は大事ですよ。コミュニケーションの第一歩です。
It's very important to introduce yourself. It's the first step into
別
communication.
に名前なんてどうでもいい。というか、メイドなんてどうでもいい。
Names aren't really worth anything to worry about. For that matter, maids aren't really much to worry about either.
ひどーい。
Oh, oh. She shouted and tottered about.
自信が持てなくなりました。もうメイドとしてやっていけません。
I lost my self-confidence. I can no longer go on as a maid.
そこまで落ち込むことはないだろう。
Nothing to get depressed over.
明日からは白衣の天使にでもなりましょう。
Maybe I'll become an angel in white starting tomorrow.
でもありか。
So anything goes. Maybe she really was just a girl wearing a maid uniform.
まあそれは冗談として。
Well, that was just
タ
a
フ
joke.
だな。
Harsh.
それであなたのお名前も教えていただけるとお姉さんは嬉しいんですけど。
On that note, your big sister would love to hear your name.
春菜。春菜亮順也。
Parna. Warrant Officer Rhea Parna. Calling herself my big sister caught me off guard. Was it because of her own really cheerful expression? It was hard to say her true age, for sure, but she didn't look any older than me.
春菜よ。りょうくんですね。
Rhea then.
待て。
Wait.
いきなりその慣れ慣れしい故障はなんだ。
Aren't you being too friendly with someone you've just met? Yes, for most people in America, calling someone by their first name is pretty normal. In fact, calling someone by their last name, at least now that's considering to be purposeful, distant from somebody, kind of rude in its own way. But I guess most places are not like that. So far, I don't know, just don't like this character. It doesn't jive with the story to me.
何か不都合がありますか？
Does that trouble you?
不都合はない。
Trouble? Not particularly. A civilian girl shouldn't have to address me by rank. It wouldn't be strange to refer to me if she happened to be a little bit older. It wouldn't, but her information was just...
じゃありょうくんでいいですね。
Okay then, Reno should just be fine. She stared me down with a smile.
それでりょうくん、これからどちらへ行かれるんですか？
So then, Reno, where are you headed now?
今日はもう何もないから自分の部屋に行って休んでいいそうだ。
I have nothing more today. So I'm gonna return to the room and rest.
お部屋の場所わかるんですか？
Do you know where your room is?
いや、
No. It may have been written down in the major gave me, but I couldn't read that without loading it up on some computer somewhere.
それでは私がお連れしましょう。大
Well
丈
then.
夫。場所は知ってますから。
I'll take you there. It's alright. I know where it is. She smiled sweetly and began walking.
なあ、あんた。
Hey,
エリカですってば。呼び捨てで構わないですよ。
you can just call me Eric. I don't mind if you address me
エ
informally.
リカは本当にメイドなのか？
Eric, are you really a maid?
はい、見ての通りメイドさんです。りょうくんはメイド好きですか？
Yes, I'm a maid, just as you see. Not like maids?
別に好きじゃない。
Not really particularly.
それでも男の子ですか？
Gives consider yourself a man. Why'd you suddenly snap?
優しくて美人なメイドさんに対してそれは失礼ですよ。いけませんね、りょうくん。
Being awfully discourteous to such a kind, beautiful maid. That would not do, Ryo.
自分で美人とか言うな。
Don't call yourself a beauty.
まったくもうスカートが長いのが気に入らないのかな。
Unbelievable. You're displeased because of my skirt's so long? That wasn't the
そ
issue.
んなことより
Let's look
エ
up
リ
the
カみ
side.
たいなメイドとか軍人以外の職員はどれくらいいるんだ？
But how many maids like you and the other non-military personnel are there here?
メイドは私だけですけど、厨房とか清掃なんかの職員が20人くらい、研究員がこれも20人くらいですかね。
Let me see. I'm the only maid, but there are about 20 kitchen or cleaning crew on staff. I suppose there are 20 researchers
軍
about.
人は120名だと聞いてきたが確かか？
Heard there were like 120 soldiers. Is that right?
そんなものですね。多少増減はしてると思いますけど。
Well, that's true on paper. I think the actual number fluctuates a bit.
なるほどな。
I see. This house. Well, the research facility was a bigger structure than I happened to picture, but it was still far too many people. This place had 2 platoons or 30 infantry. It would have been more than enough. The military was short-handed everywhere nowadays. The place was just downright awful. What the Major had said at the very end did not appear to be a joke. Beyond the door, contrary to my expectation, was a charmless, simple room, and this music is really loud. A little bit better. Jesus, that thing was blaring.
普通の部屋だなって思っているでしょう。
Must be thinking, what a normal room.
玄関や少佐の執務室とはまるで違うな。
It's completely different from the entryway and the Major's office. Hell, if I was a soldier, I'd be happy with just my own damn room. Doesn't look half bad either.
この東館は兵隊さんの宿舎用に増築されたものなんですよ。外装や廊下は本館の内装に合わせてありますけど、室内まで手が回らなかったみたいです。
This east wing was built in addition to garrison soldiers. The exterior and the corridors matched the design of the main building. But it seems they didn't extend that luxury when it came to the rooms themselves.
なるほど。
Let's see. It was minimally furnished and couldn't all be called spacious. But it was just a room to sleep in, so I had no complaints.
ここ個室なんだな。
This is a private room?
一応士官用のお部屋ですよ。他に空きがないのと、少佐さんが少尉も準尉も大して変わらんとか言ってここを使うようにと。
This room is typically for officers. There were no other available, and the Major said that you should use it since there wasn't much of a difference between the second lieutenant and a warrant officer. I guess for an officer, their own room's pretty normal.
どこまで大雑把なんだ、少佐は。
Just how sloppy is it? Needless to say, the warrant officer and the second lieutenant were completely different. A non-commissioned officer normally would have enrolled in officer training school and break through many obstacles just before becoming an officer. Well, a private room was more comfortable, so I was thankful.
あの
She suddenly made a mysterious face appear to
りょ
my
うくん
eyes.
は稲葉少佐さんとは面識があるみたいですね。
He seemed to be acquainted with Major Inaba some way.
一応な。最後に会ったのはもうずいぶん前の話だ。
Somewhat. We last met quite some time ago.
あの時も少しも軍人なんかには見えなかったけど、今でもあまり変わってない。おかしな男だ。
He didn't look like the soldier in the slightest back then, and he really hasn't changed. He's a strange man. I carelessly threw my bag and carrying it on the floor. Sorry. I carelessly threw the bag that I'd been carrying on the floor.
いけませんよ、そんな乱暴な。
Oh, that's no good. So violent.
壊れるようなもんは入っちゃいない。
There's nothing breakable in it.
少佐は
About the Major.
はい。
Yes?
いや、なんでもない。
No, it's nothing. Why had the Major requested me? I was thankful for being pulled away from my job as teaching the teaching assistant at the academy after the unit dissolved. It didn't suit me at all. I did not understand why he would have gave me an assignment as a guard in such a remote facility. No, maybe I should say used to not understand.
私が思うにですね、
In my humble opinion,
りょうくんもかなり変わってると思いますよ。
quite unusual yourself.
私は軍人さんをたくさん見てきましたけど、りょうくんは他の軍人さんと全然別の生き物みたいに思えます。
I've seen many soldiers, but compared to others, you're quite something else
あ
entirely.
んた、俺と今日会ったばかりじゃないか。
Didn't we just meet today? What could she known about me? Just that.
こら、年上のお姉さんに向かってあんたはいけませんよ。
Come on, you shouldn't speak that way to your elders.
本当に年上なのか。
Are you really older than me?
それだけは間違いないと断言できます。
I assure you there's no doubt. Well, they say you can't judge a woman's age by her
とりあえ
appearance.
ず
Anyways,
今日はいろいろと世話になった。ありがとう。
you've helped me out a lot today. Thank you.
別にお礼を言われることではないんですよ。私が好きでやったことですから。
You don't need to thank me. I only did what I felt like doing.
昔から人に世話を焼きすぎるんですよね、私。
Always been too much of a busybody.
メイドに向いてる性格らしいな。
Very maidly-like personality.
ええ、
Yes. She congenially showed me a soft smile.
また何かありましたらいつでもどうぞ。
If anything else should arise, you should tell me anytime.
いや、別にもう何もないだろう。
I don't think there'll be anything else.
そこは嘘でも今後もよろしくとかなんとか言うものですよ。
You're supposed to say, I hope there will be long... blah blah blah. You're supposed to say, I hope we'll get along in the future, or something, even if it's a lie. Even if I was unusual, this maid had to be as well. Everyone in the forces and training academy had been afraid of me and wouldn't get anywhere near me. Erica gracefully bowed to the two soldiers who had come from the meeting, and she walked through the halls as she walked through the hall. The soldiers passed her with a relaxed expression. Ryo Harnett was somehow different from those men she thought. He was a young man with bizarre ambience. He seemed unsociable, but he replied with honesty when spoken to. He did not really seem like a soldier. Those eyes. That glint in his eyes, not something lived an ordinary life possessed. She may have gotten such a terribly unbalanced impression just due to the fact of his eyes, just so out of the ordinary.
聞いていた話と全然違いますね。
It's completely different from what I heard. Perhaps one day, she'll hear me. Erica remembered the words she had told. She never once imagined Mac would come to this research facility. Furthermore, that he'd be the owner of such dreadful eyes. This was a man who lived through unspeakable scenes of carnage. Elika had seen many soldiers before. She understood how different Muriel Harnham was. She allowed a gentle sigh. The fact that a monster like him had been summoned must meant that the time had come.
始まるわ、シオン。
So let's take a small break and talk about what's going on. So he's been transferred to this research facility, quite unusual research facility. Not quite what he expected, and not quite the staff he expected. Seems all a little off, but it seems to be something here has to do with the colonization of space and how the colony ships are made and designed and even looked after and record their status from this very facility. So far, what I think is the main character, pretty reasonable as a soldier, at least from my experiences with talking to soldiers here and there throughout my life. But I have to admit, I am no soldier. And this facility does not feel like a military base at all. In fact, it's a thing that I have a problem with. It's just that I find it hard for a situation like this to have a military air about it, I guess you could say. And I always feel that way with some anime out there where they throw like a high school together, but it's mixed with like military elements and, you know, or something worse where there's like a military element in it and they're like a squad, but they act like freaking teenagers out of high school. That's always bothered me and always doesn't feel quite right when it comes to these types of atmospheres and the type of people who are supposed to be very professional about their lives. I mean, I know like soldiers can dick around a lot quite as much as well, but they always seem to have, they don't seem to let the small things get in the way, or at least that's my feeling of them, of people I've met. I always feel like that's not the case when it comes to these anime, manga, some visual novels where they mix the everyday high school life and military stuff together. They always worry about the stupid shit. Which is the last thing I want a trained soldier to be worried about. Anyways, trying to decide if I want to cut it here for this. It seems like we're getting into the more serious subjects of the visual novel, which is probably the things that I'm more interested in, the story and the peak. So we'll continue a little bit longer, and then once it starts fading into silliness, I'll go ahead and stop the stream there, right there. Alright, let's carry on. This research facility seemed to have plenty of energetic women. Elika and Lavi might have been a special case, but those two certainly left an impression on me. Not worth worrying about, I whispered as I laid on my bed. Fresh smell emanated from the clean sheets. A smell I had forgotten a long time ago. Yet another thing that did not matter. What should be on my mind right now? I guess there was only that man, the Major. No. I came here for an assignment. Thinking of unnecessary things would only hinder my work. As long as I kept my mind on accomplishing the objective, everything would be fine. This was how I always handled my assignments, and it would be best if I continued to do so. Then maybe, one day. Officer Haruna, are you here? The door flung open widely along the piercing knocks.
いや、悪い悪い。ついバカどもを血祭りにあげるのに夢中になっちゃって。
Hey, sorry about before. I went into a bit of a daze putting those two idiots through the ringer.
拳に血がついてるぞ。
There's some blood on your fist.
おお、本当だ。私ったらはしたない。
Oh, you're right. How unbecoming of me. She laughed, wiped blood on her
だ
sleeve.
いぶ派手にやったみたいだな。
Seems you're quite showy about it.
遊びみたいなもんよ。よくあることだしね。
Something of a game we play. This sort of thing happens a lot. This place really was dangerous, wasn't it?
エリカさんに案内してもらったんだって。はあ、あの人本当に誰にでも面倒見がいい人だな。
So Miss Erica guided you? That woman really took good care of anyone.
軍人になんて関わるもんじゃないのにね。
Shouldn't get involved with soldiers, though.
それは同感だな。
I agree. Soldiers were just creatures that would do anything given a single order from above. We were the same in that both carried out orders from our superiors, and the difference in that the military orders usually involved taking lives.
でも、彼女はここのメイドなんだろ？関わらざるを得ないんじゃないのか？
But isn't she a maid here? Isn't she obliged to?
あれ？聞いてないんだ。
Oh, you haven't heard?
何を？
エリカさんは軍人でも研究所のスタッフでもなくて。
Oh, Miss Erica doesn't serve the military or this research facility. She seemed to be looking into the distance.
エリカさんはあの人専属の世話係なのよ。
She has a duty of looking after that person, exclusive.
あの人。
That person. She was here. It wasn't that I doubted the major. It was just something that I couldn't easily believe.
本当にここにいるのか？
So, she's really here?
信じられないのはわかるけどね。私も1年前ここに来た時に少佐に聞かされてすぐには信じられなかった。
No, it's unbelievable. When I heard it from the major after I arrived a month ago, I couldn't believe it right away either.
でも本当のことよ。
But it's true.
私もあんたも何か起これば彼女の盾になって死ぬのが仕事よ。
Our job is to become her shield and die, should something happen. She said that without hesitation, as I thought it was obvious.
シオンか。
Shion, huh? She nodded in silence. It was strange that he was rounding up someone from the special forces, such as myself, to defend this facility. But if Shion was here, that changed everything.
ま、何もかも明日っからよ。今日のところは仕事もないんだからのんびりしてて。
Well, everything starts tomorrow. We don't have work today, so let's take it easy.
そうさせてもらうか。
Guess I'll do just that. He was right. There's no need to be so serious. Regardless who was here, I just had to do my job. If I were told to rest, I'd rest.
あ、そうだ。いいこと考えた。
Oh, right. Thought of something good. In my whole life, I never heard anything good come out of those words.
春菜獣医の歓迎会をやろう。そうだそうだ、そうしよう。
Let's have a welcoming party for you. It'll be good. Let's go do it.
いやちょっと待ってくれ。
No, wait a second.
食堂はダメね。
Dining room? No good.
一応地下に食堂があるんだけど、食事時ともなると兵士どもが押し寄せてえらいことになるのよ。
There's a dining room in the basement, but when it's chow time rolls around and the other guys stumble in, it'd be just a mess.
みんな周りも気にせずにぷかぷかタバコふかすしね。
Everyone ignores their surroundings and smokes up a storm.
よし、
Alright.
特別に女性兵の居住区にご案内しましょう。大丈夫、女性兵のトップの私が言えばみんな反対なんかしないから。
Since this is a special occasion, I'll show you to the female soldiers' quarters. Don't worry, I'm the highest ranked soldiers among the ladies. So no one will object if I say anything is okay. There was no stopping her now. Only a few hours have passed since I first met her, but I've gotten the handle on her personality for the most part.
じゃあ私は準備を整えてくるから、その間に春菜順位は荷物の整理をするなりシャワーを浴びるなりしててね。
Okay, I'll take care of the preparations. While doing that, you take care of your luggage and take a shower. And with that, Levy left the room without waiting for me to reply. I guess she was the type that blocked out everything once she had her mind set on something. She probably wasn't suited to be a commander, although she had made it all the way to the warrant officer, so she probably was still quite capable. I sighed and reached for my bag that I left on the
どう
floor.
もここは勝手が違うな。
Place is quite a different environment. It looks like days far different from the military life I've grown accustomed to. As this promotion whirled around in my heart, sinking anxiety began to fester in my mind.
この星はね、やがて終わってしまうの。
You know, this place is coming to an end.
終わってしまうって。
An end? I inquired as I faced the back of a girl loitering in front of me.
もうそれはずっと昔、君のおじいさん、ひいおじいさんが生まれた頃から分かっていたことなの。
For a long, long time now. It's something that everyone knew around the time of my grandfather. No. Great-grandfather was born.
ひいおじいさん。
Great-grandfather? Cocked my head. I couldn't even know my great-grandfather's face, let alone my great-grandfather. Sorry. I didn't even know my grandfather's face, let alone my great-grandfather.
ええ、君が生まれるずっとずっと前に、人々はこの星に終わりが近づいていることを知ったのよ。
Yes, people knew the end of this planet was drawing near. Long before you were even
星
born.
が終わっちゃったらどうなるの？
What will happen once the planet ends?
人も動物も、花も木も、みんな死んでしまうわ。
People, animals, the flowers, the trees, all of them die.
じゃあ僕も姉さんも。
Does that mean we will as well? I didn't, but Mom and Dad already passed on. We were all alone. I wanted to live here, my sister forever. I didn't want to die.
怖がることはないわ。
There's nothing
そう。みんな死んでしまうはずだった。でも、大丈夫。あなたは死なない。
Yes, everyone will die. But it's alright. You won't die.
でも星が終わっちゃうんでしょ？
Is the planet empty?
あのね、君に一つ大事なことを教えてあげるわ。
Listen, I'm gonna tell you something very important.
とてもとても大事なことを。
Something very, very important. She didn't turn around. She just kept looking far into the distance. Merely gazing at her back made me feel so safe.
人はね、運命に逆らうことができるの。たとえ罪を犯しても、逃げ出すことになっても、それでも生き抜くのが人間というものなのよ。
People can fight against fate. Humans are creatures who keep on living, even if they commit a crime or end up running away.
どんなことにでも終わりは必ずやってくる。だけど人はその終末を永劫の未来にまで先延ばしにできると私はそう信じてる。
In the end, it will invariably come down to everything, no matter what it is. However, I believe people are capable of delaying that conclusion for an eternity.
よくわからない。
I don't really get it.
そうね。君には少し難しかったかも。ごめんね。
That might have been a little bit too hard for you. Sorry.
僕たちは生きられるんだよね。
You're gonna live, right?
ええ。君は生きるわ。
You'll live. She looked up at the night sky, pointing towards the conspicuous red star. Conspicuous star.
一つの世界の終わりは新しい世界の始まり。
One world's end is another world's begin.
人々はみんな次の星を目指して旅立っていくのよ。
All mankind has set its eyes on the next planet and is beginning off on its journey.
姉さんも僕も別の星に行くの？
Will you go to another planet too?
私は
She paused briefly. The wind from the mountains blew over her. It was a silence that lasted but a moment. She began walking slowly, the grass crunching underneath her feet.
姉さん？
What's this?
私はね、ここで世界の終わりを見届けたいの。
Want to see the end of the world right here with my own eyes. What a nostalgic. Alright, I think that is an excellent place to stop this stream. You kind of can see where this story is headed. It is getting more interesting, especially after that cutscene. And I kind of hope there is more of that atmosphere. That atmosphere, I think, is really what this story is all about. But we'll have to see. Anyways, if you like this, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, I guess they call it on YouTube, not favorite, or subscribe or follow or whatever. Still don't know if I'll go ahead and get the final version of this game. Been kind of looking for a non-romantic visual comedy. I mean, not visual comedy, visual novel. There's just so many visual novels on Steam that are all romantic based, and I would like something a little bit different. Personally, I've been craving for more of the Steingate type of thing, or I don't know, I would even say like some of Fate Stay Night was, well, Unlimited Blade Works wasn't really romantic heavy. I kind of prefer those stories that have romance season on it and not the main dish. Unfortunately, right now on Steam, that just seems to be all there is in terms of story, the romance. And I would prefer something different. Maybe something Walking Dead-ish. I mean, I guess the visual novels that came close to those for serious tone one be Swan Song that I played. But I've only played through half of it. It kind of got weird halfway through when well, I won't spoil it. But yeah, I got halfway through that. And it kind of just changed the tone a little bit, and I kind of stopped playing. But if you have any recommendations for any visual novels that I can play, let me know in the comments too. It'd be great to know. So, I'll catch you guys later. Let me go ahead and switch it to... Alright. Good night, everybody.